Thanks, Beth. Thanks for having me, and great job with my name. I know it can be a mouthful, but that was perfect. Thank you.
Yay! I did it. I don't do well with pronunciation, so I'm glad I got it right. So Corinne, she is a best-selling author who helps heart-centered people write books. Heart-centered. Her clients come from all walks of life. They're entrepreneurs, mediums, healers, life coaches, attorneys, and others. And so when she says all walks of life, she really means all walks of life. But whatever their calling, they all write books that transform the lives of others. Corinne strongly believes that through humor and self-expression, we find our own inner light and our soul and everything else. So I agree with you, Corinne, and I will tell you that I've been bugged for quite a few years to write a book, and I'm one of those people that says, what in the world would I write a book about? So I imagine you get a lot of us, correct?
I do. And as you said, my clients and my favorite clients are those spiritual light workers, energy workers, because I love to learn about spirituality. And I know that when I am in service to my client, they can be in better service to their client and just, help more people become all that they can be. And those ripples just really go out. So
that's awesome. What do you think right now? A lot of people have this idea that books are going away. I don't think that. But in today's time right now, is it more audiobook? Is it actually written book as in paper and printed? Or is it more online? What's the kind of the go-to these days that most people are doing?
I think it's more ebook, but actually there is a big market for audiobooks because people, if they're commuting, they like to listen to that in their car. And a lot of people like to read on their Kindle. And for me, I was so surprised that I liked a Kindle because, I've always been a paperback kind of girl, but I do love my Kindle Paperwhite. So
that's awesome. Now, what advice would you give someone that says, okay, I would love to do a book and I want it to be an audiobook, but they don't like their voice? Is there such thing where someone would do that for them, that they would actually read their book for them on audio? Does that, you know what I mean? Or do you have to do your own?
Oh, no, you can get someone to do it for you. You'd have to find talent to do that. And maybe the recording studio could help you out with that, for sure. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like to hear their own voice.
Yeah. So I guess it's probably actually suggested then, too, to get that professionally done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool. Are any of your books in audio format right now?
No, not yet. But I would like to read one of my stories. That would be fun.
What's your favorite book? Which one would you want to read?
Oh, you're not supposed to pick, right? They're like your children.
But, the first thought that came to your mind, the first one, I think I already know which one it is.
It's Walk Like an Egyptian.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Walk Like an Egyptian. I knew it. Is it because, can you get the music to play in the background while you read it? Walk Like an Egyptian. Real quick for our listeners, can you list your books real quick that you do have out right now, just so they know? And we'll put your link up to Amazon as well. What are the books you have out right now?
Sure. I have 2 novels, Walk Like an Egyptian and The Adventures of Blue Belly and Sugar Shaker. And I also have a nonfiction book about relationship that's called Break These Chains of Love, A New Paradigm for Relationship.
Wow. Can you tell me a little bit about that one? What's the Break the Paradigm? What is that one for the relationship?
So I wrote that book because my relationships with men had been so bad that I didn't want anyone to suffer the way that I had. So I wrote a book about all my failings and then what techniques I used to get over them. And it was, for me, terrifying. Wow. Because normally when I write, I'm an expert, right? I'm an expert. Either I'm an expert or I'm hiding behind my character, right? So it's like, here's the best of me. And this was me at my little petty, jealous, oh my God, did I really just do that self, right? And I put that out there. And I was so nervous about it. But when I hit that little button to make it go live, it was like so liberating. And then watching the reactions come in and the responses, and people could identify with that little self. And they, maybe they had done some of those things too, but they wanted to overcome as well. So that was really fulfilling for me to be able to help people in that way.
So that brings to mind exactly what you and I were talking about off the air, about how writing is actually very healing. So it sounds like that journey that you went on was a healing journey, correct?
Absolutely. And it was really made known to me with my first book. I was writing about my family, and I was remembering entire conversations from the dinner table 30 years earlier when I was 5.
Wow.
And I have a sister who's, I won't say how many years older she is than I am in case she's listening, but she's a little bit older than I am. And so I would go to her and say, hey, XYZ. And she'd be like, where did that come from? And she would say, yes, and she would tell me, what was going on in the house with my parents. And so I had a little bit more backstory. But when she asked me, where did it come from? I said, cellular memory. It's all in there. It all comes up for healing.
Wow.
And so I believe when you write, it's healing first for you, for the writer. You're getting it out there, it's healing. But also, I believe that people are attracted to your books for that reason. There's something in there that's going to heal and transform them.
It's going to attract just the right people, right?
Right. It's like your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So it's that whole thing. I totally believe that. It's like they're going to be attracted by the cover or whatever. There are no coincidences, right? So someone mentions the same book to you, you hear it 3 times in one day and you go, oh, I need to read it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's amazing. So it kind of sounds to me when you say that writing is healing, it almost sounds like you're saying that anybody can write. Do you feel that way? Really? Can anybody write?
Oh, absolutely. Anybody can write. Yeah. I mean, if you're feeling like you should and having little promptings, it probably means you have something to say. I mean, you can write it for yourself. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, that's what you're doing anyway, but you can tell yourself that no one else ever has to see it, right?
Okay. Is that kind of the secret tip, that you're writing it for yourself? You're not really writing it for viewers? Or I feel like that's a little tip there that I just kind of heard you say.
It is kind of a tip, because it does totally take the pressure off, right? If you think that no one ever has to see it, you really don't have to hold back.
So it pulls that wall down. Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So in your work, the title of our show is Writing Down Your Soul and Accessing Your Inner Self. I want to know exactly what that means to you. And I want to know what you offer your clients as, how do you get a book out of them? Like someone like me that says, well, everybody says I should write a book, but I don't know what to write about, and how do you tap into that? And to me, it almost sounds like you're channeling and you're intuitively looking into them as well, just like me as a psychic and as a medium. So you're multifaceted. You're not just, a person that's coaching, writing, and authoring. You're actually coaching, pulling those stories out of them as well. So I definitely want to talk about that. So let's talk about the title, Writing Down Your Soul. Tell me what that means to you.
So I have become very aware that when I am reading someone's work, I'm listening to their soul. So that to me is both exciting and humbling. So when I work with someone, I'm really trying to get to the essence of their story and the authenticity of it, the truth of it, because that's what people feel. And I think a skill that I have is that I'm good at getting the energy of the words to match the energy of their intention. So in that way, we get to the truth and the authenticity, and people can feel that and connect with that. And that's really what I'm trying to do when I work with people.
That's beautiful. I kind of compare that to painting too, because I'm an artist too. And so when you're painting, I always hope that, like, I can tell when I'm painting that I'm doing pretty good when I'm in that zone. You know what I'm saying? When I kind of don't know what I'm actually doing till I'll step away and look at it and like hours have passed. Then you know that your energy has actually been put on this canvas. Would you say it's the same thing with writing and in the books? Just that automatic writing and writing and writing and writing? Is that the case?
Yeah, when you get into the zone and you don't know that any time has passed, you really know that you're just allowing spirit to flow through you. And that's the whole point of it, right? Get your personality, your ego, set it to the side, and just let spirit flow through you.
What about people that say, I don't know where to start? Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, so my process is I always have someone do a brain dump, and then I sit down with them. So I tell them, think about everything that you're going to put in your book, every concept you want to talk about, every lesson you want to learn, want people to learn, and what story or what data backs that up. Like, write it all down, and then I will sit down with you and we'll figure out what goes in every single chapter. So then you know what to write. So I have one of my favorite clients, I shouldn't say that, but she is one of my favorite clients.
Okay.
She's a stage medium.
Whoa.
And I sat down with her, and in 90 minutes, we created her whole book outline. And at the end of it, she just looked at me and said, I can't believe it. I know what to write now. And
oh my gosh.
That felt so good for both of us, right?
That's awesome. I know how it feels. I know how you feel, because that's the way it feels when I work with clients, when I do one-on-one readings and they walk out and it's just that little bit of an oomph, almost like this little secret satisfaction, like, yeah, we got there, and it just feels so good on a personal win, because you know that you went to a place that they haven't been able to go yet. And that it does feel really good.
Yeah, and it's, also about making people's dreams come true, because a lot of people, that's been a dream of theirs for a long time, to write a book. So that feels really good too.
That's awesome. Do you also help them with the next stages, like finding an editor and how to get it published and things like that? Because that can stop a lot of people. Like, they get overwhelmed with the thought, like, okay, great, I'll get it out on paper, but then what do I do with it?
Yeah, I could definitely help them find people to work with for those pieces. I like to strictly focus on the writing, but yeah, the marketing is a big piece and getting it out there. So we'll find you someone for that.
Okay, good. You've got good referrals. Well, I like that. And what I like about you too is that we focus on the talents that we're good at, and that's, you can tell what you're good at and what your passion is. And if you stick to that, then that's going to be the cream of the crop. That's going to be the best gift that you can give anyone. So that's cool. That's very cool. So what is your method for getting into your own writing? Let's say you're writing something for you. What's your method?
Yeah, so when I talked a minute ago about setting your personality and ego to the side, that's a big piece of it for me, like getting out of judgment, silencing that inner critic. And that for me is all about meditation.
Okay.
So I'm really a big meditator. I've been meditating for, I won't tell you how many years, but a long time. And that's really my process. And, to let spirit flow through me. And it just comes in through my crown, down through my heart, out my hands, onto the page. And that's the way that I'm thinking about it and flowing it, before I start. I have...
That's exactly how I channel. That's true channeling. That's exactly how I do it. Not writing, but doing readings. That's exactly how I do it. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry. I'm like, wow, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. So, I've been doing it since I was a kid, only I didn't know what it was. Right. So, I have a couple of, I always breathe in and out of my heart. So I have one heart breath meditation, and I have a big connection with Egypt. So my other meditation that I have for writers is, a meditation in 2 parts that's based on my actual experience at the Temple of Love and Joy in Dendera, Egypt.
Wow.
I had a little initiation when I was there. So that's the meditation, and it's 3 minutes before you write to get you writing, and then 3 minutes when you're done writing to really ground you.
Wow. So you actually share your own experience with them and let them meditate on that.
Yeah. And so that piece about love and joy, it's like love and joy is our natural state. It's our birthright. That energy is always available, no matter what it looks like is going on in your outer circumstances. You can always tap into that. And really, it's great energy to bring to your writing.
Right. And it eliminates fear. If the fear is gone, which is a lot of times ego related, then you have no choice but to be in that state of consciousness of love and joy.
Because those 2 energies cannot be in the same space at the same time.
Exactly. So wow. That's beautiful. And then that energy is never going to be introduced into the writing either. So the reader's not going to get that either, which is all transference. We all can get that. So that's amazing. Good coaching. You are a great coach. That's great.
Thank you.
If you guys didn't hear, again, Corinne has given away some complimentary 30-minute consultations. This is a beautiful gift. You don't want to miss this opportunity. So the first 5 people to email her at Corinne@CorinneCasazza.com will get 30 minutes with Corinne to ask any questions they have about writing, or to even get a review on something they've written. So y'all share that. We can type that into the feed too on the Facebook so people can see that. It's on there right now? Oh, cool beans. So people are seeing it. So that's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's just a beautiful gift. I'm probably going to tap you for myself. Although, again, I'm like, a book, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I haven't felt the intuitive nudge to do it yet. I've just had a lot of people say it. So, what? You just said it?
I told you today.
Yeah, Jesse did. Jesse said, you should write a book. So, yeah, people are saying it. But I'm still like, I was saying, I don't even know where to begin, what to write about. So I love the fact that you do this brain dump. What about people, let's say, that are kind of like me, that don't even know what to brain dump? So, I don't know. I just am told I have a book in me. Where do you go from there?
So then I would start with, what's your life story? Is it interesting? Like I met someone last week who told me that she grew up, her parents were in the circus, and then she was in the military. And I was like, what? Like, you need to write a book.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, people tell me that all the time. I'm like, you need to write a book. So, what are your experiences? What have you learned? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Like, what do you want people to know? Not about you, but about life in general and how to deal with life and how to overcome things or whatever it is that you want to get across. What do you have to say, basically?
Right.
And it doesn't even have to be that. It could be, what story do you want to tell? You could want to write science fiction or romantic history or whatever,
Right.
And I do work with writers of both nonfiction and fiction because I write both. So
that's awesome. What's your favorite nonfiction that you have one or two nonfictions right now that you've done? One. Okay. And then your two novels, what are those about?
So Walk Like an Egyptian is about a flight attendant who wants to be an actress, and she has the incumbent president, a senator, and an assassin all converging on her, and she doesn't know why. And then she's having these dreams about ancient Egypt and the goddess Isis, and those dreams and her sleeping life become more real to her than her waking life, and then the two really converge. So
that sounds it kind of sounds like my life. That's funny. That's awesome. What's the second novel?
It's called The Adventures of Bluebelly and Sugar Shaker, and it's about two Bostonians who have kind of spiritual superpowers. Like one can manifest things at will, like she thinks about something and it just shows up. And the other is a realtor, and she can read the energy of people and places. So basically she knows what house you belong in, right? But so they get confronted with these new abilities and they just don't know where to go with them or what to do. So they struggle a little bit and try to figure that out.
Wow. Okay. I'm reading that one. That one sounds like I want to read that one. That's cool.
The first one's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know it is, isn't it? Okay. That's really cool. Did you know your whole life that you were a writer, or when did this come to be for you?
Yeah, it was the only thing I ever wanted to do, like since I was 8. So yeah, I started writing when I was 8.
Wow.
And I never stopped.
Did your teachers all say, okay, you're a writer? I mean, was that one of those things, like it started off that way? And did you get detoured at all?
I really didn't. I was really blessed. I always had great feedback and people to encourage me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
If you had an inspirational writer, someone that inspired you as a mentor, who would that be?
You're going to laugh, but I like Janet Ivanovich. Like those Stephanie Plum novels just crack me up.
That's awesome.
I enjoy reading those.
That's really good. I love that. That's good. And what I love about it is you're real. You know what I mean? You're not you are a writing guru, but it's not intangible. You know what I mean? It just goes to show that you can touch anyone and anyone can be a writer. And I love that. Even your choice of who your favorite author is, which is really funny. So
yeah, I mean, you definitely have to have fun. Like humor is so important.
Absolutely. So tell me, what about journaling? A lot of people say, well, I don't even journal. Is that really important?
You don't have to do it to write, but it is a good idea, especially Julia Cameron's book. The name escapes me right now, but Writing Morning Pages, like when you get up.
The Artist Way.
That's exactly right.
The Artist Way, one of my favorite books. Yep.
Get up and write that negativity and get it out. It's gone. And then you can be free, to write whatever else is going to come. But yeah, and I did journal. I have a bunch of notebooks from my whole life. But so that's one way that you can tell that you're a writer, but it's not necessary.
Not necessary. Okay. Well, that's good. So tell me again about when we're saying writing down your soul, accessing that inner person. Do you actually help? So if I came to you for coaching or someone else did and said, I really don't know how to tap into my inner soul, are you actually tapping into that and actually almost telling them what their inner soul is saying, or are you just pulling it out of them?
Well, I think really they're bringing it out, especially if they're in meditation. That's what's flowing through them. It's spirit, it's source, it's whatever label you want to choose to give it, but that's their true self. And I'm just kind of tuning in a little bit more to maybe fine tune it. Because if they just started the process, it might be a little harder for them to hear. So
right. Okay. I like the way, and I don't know how you know, you and I've talked off the air, but I don't know if you realize how much psychic work you're actually doing, Corinne. Do you know that? Or do you think it just all comes under this umbrella of a coach?
No, I love that. I love that you're saying that, because I mean, I have been channeling since I was a kid, and it's nice to hear you say that, because sometimes I think I get away from that and I'm, you know, into the writing, but you know, when I teach writing, I never teach the nuts and bolts. I'm always teaching people meditation to get into that meditative space and get out of their personality.
Absolutely. And you're also reading them. And I don't know if you realize you're doing that, but I can tell you are, because you're really good. And maybe you're getting everything from a brain dump, but as you called it, brain dump. I love that word. But you're also reading them. You're like, I can tell that you can almost see more in them than they're actually giving you, even in that brain dump. So you're tapping in and you're reading them at the same time. That's amazing. Have you ever had any of them say, hey, how did you know that? How did you know that as you're doing it?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's awesome. Well,
but, you know, they're mostly intuitive too. So they're like, they get it. So
yeah. Well, definitely don't be afraid of it, because it's okay to cross paths, but you're definitely using your psychic gifts along with your coaching gifts. And the two together makes a beautiful partnership. So that's beautiful. So tell me, I'm going to say I'm guilty about meditation. I do. I attempt it every day. Let's put it that way. I attempt it every day. What is your favorite way to meditate in general? And then also, again, I want you to share one more time about meditation for writing in particular. But why is it so important, the meditation part?
Because you're really getting in touch with your soul, right? Your inner self, your inner wisdom. And the first and most important thing is to get into your heart space. Because, you know, if you're like me, you have a big, giant mental body and you're always up here examining and, you know, going over things in your head, and you really have to be in your heart space. So I tell people, take the elevator from your head down to your heart. Sometimes it's a really long journey.
I like that. Yes, for me in particular.
Yeah. You have to get into your heart. Or, you know, the easiest way is to just put your hand over your heart and put your awareness in your heart space.
I've heard that before, and you're going to laugh, but I've never actually tried it. But really just put your hand over your heart.
Yeah, because it really does bring your attention here.
That's amazing. And when the heart and the brain connect, is that right? Is that what you're trying to do, is connect the two? And
yeah, there's definitely,
okay.
There's definitely coherence going on there, but you have to remember that your heart is the master. It's your heart that's the master, not your brain. So, you know, the brain is not a good master. So you really have to start with the heart. And, you know, as I told you earlier, I breathe in and out of the heart space and just get there and feel what's going on there and write from there.
Wow. Do you have some of these meditation tips on your website that people see, or no?
I do not. I need to put them back up there. Yeah,
definitely. In the meantime, you guys go to her website, though. It's, what was it? www.CorinneCasazza.com. Go there and look. We'll test you and see if you get those tips up there.
Okay.
So tell me again that you're sharing such a personal journey about Egypt with your fellow writers, and you're giving that to them to help them meditate and to start writing. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. So when I went to Egypt, at the end of our 2 weeks was a trip to Dendera, to Hathor's Temple of Love and Joy. And I was the place that I most wanted to go, and I got bus sick on the way there. And I didn't even want to get off the bus, right? And the Egyptologist was there. You must come, you must come. And I was like, he dragged me off the bus. And then really, I mean, I got baptized at the Temple of Love and Joy. He poured a cold bottle of water over my head.
Wow.
And it wasn't until, you know, I was done with the whole thing that I realized, I was like, wow, I really was initiated. I really am, you know, able to express love and joy in a different way than I had beforehand. So it was a profound experience.
Wow.
And I got to sit in the back of the temple and just be, while the rest of the group was doing other things. So I was sitting underneath Nut, the goddess Nut, in the night sky. So
that's beautiful.
That's what I take people through in the meditation.
Oh, that's beautiful. Have you taped this so people can hear it at any time?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. So it's on audio. That's beautiful. What was the biggest thing you noticed different after you left there? When you say you experienced the peace and the joy differently, what's that profound thing that you felt different?
There was more trust there, and I knew that it was infinite and, our natural state, so it's always there.
And you're not having any trouble tapping into it at any time anymore?
Not so much. I mean, yeah, there's sometimes more than others, but it's definitely, I trust it now. That wasn't there before.
That's awesome. So. I get a little scared sometimes when I have experiences like this. Like I'm always praying, please let me remember this. Please let me remember this. I don't want to forget it, and I get kind of panicked. Like, what if it goes away, but it doesn't sound like it did for you.
No, that's the thing. Like, creativity is infinite, and you have to know that it is infinite and it's there always. It's yours and it's always there.
Wow, that's beautiful. For those listeners out there that know what we're talking about, when you're tapping into that creative flow. It just feels different. Things come to your mind differently. The flow of conversation comes out differently. It's like a different rhythm, wouldn't you think? It's like a different wavelength. And when you're on it, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything is frequency, right? So it's definitely a higher frequency.
Yeah. I just had the vision of, I'm a visual person, but I just had Finding Nemo, when he gets on the wave and it's like, yes, I'm riding the wave. But yeah, that's what it feels like. And, sometimes I get panicked and I'm like, wait, I need to get back there. How do I get back there? So I do have some trusty ways that I get into channel that I've done. And they're personal. Everybody does it their own way. But I do get worried, especially when something profound happens like that. Like, I want to make sure I remember exactly where I was. You know what I'm saying? But it sounds like you tapped into that trust, which I love. And that's good for me to hear, that it's always there. You can always go back there.
Yeah, it definitely is. And another trick that I did when I first started writing was I had the book, Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, and it's a bunch of little essays. And every day I would just close my eyes, flip through the pages, and pick one. And it was amazing whatever I needed to hear that day.
Wow, you were using it just like an oracle deck.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I say. Any writing book that works for you, like Stephen King's on writing, whatever you like. And also you could use just a regular oracle deck of cards if you choose.
Right. I have a book that Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote that I use as an oracle deck, and it is a book, and I'll flip through it, and I ask, okay, what do I need to hear today? And it just lands on the right and perfect page. I do that every day, too. So I think that's the only book I do it to, though. But I have a couple oracle decks, but I really like the book, like you said. When it comes to coaching people through writing, what do you think the biggest hang-up is, and what have you done to get through that? What have you found?
I think people have limiting beliefs about writing that they need to get through. So I have a process that I work through with them. Some of it's energetic and some of it's questions, but that's what it comes down to, that and them adhering to a schedule.
Oh, gotcha. That's important, huh?
Yeah, so I help them create a schedule that works for them, and of course it has ritual in it, right? It's either meditation or dance or walking or whatever works for them.
Have you found that dedication and that determination, making that commitment, is one of the key ingredients?
It's really important because it's muscle memory. If you have a certain song that you listen to, or you dance, or for me, meditation, as soon as I sit and start to get into that space, my whole body relaxes, and it's like, oh, it's time to write now. Your body knows, muscle memory, just as if you went to the gym. It's
absolutely.
The same thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So it really relaxes you and eases you into it instead of having resistance. So those two things, getting over the limiting beliefs and having your schedule, a ritual that works for you, is powerful for people.
One of my daughters swears by peppermint gum got her through math. And every time she chewed peppermint gum, it put her in her math brain. And she did well. It was her associative muscle memory associative. And so I remember she had an AP calculus test or something. And she's like, Mom, we have to go get some peppermint gum. But it worked for her, And but yeah, whatever you create, that ritual. I talk to people a lot about that ritual and how important it is. And you don't have to follow someone else's ritual necessarily. You find what works for you. And I like how you pull that out of them and you just get them to commit to a ritual, which works for them.
And that's what I tell them whenever I tell them anything. This is what works for you. I'm sharing it with you because it works for me. If it doesn't work for you, find what does, like tweak it. Find what does. It's my intention and my hope that it works. And if it doesn't, it's my intention and my hope that it leads you to what does.
That's unbelievable. What are your favorite, if you had favorite things that you've helped people write about, ghostwriting? Tell us, first of all, what ghostwriting is, what that is, and tell us some of your favorite ones you've done.
Okay, so ghostwriting is your story in your words. So I still do a brain dump with people, right? The difference is that I'm going to write questions so I know what questions to ask because I will interview whoever it is. And from the transcripts of those interviews comes the book. And then I sit down with the person, I let them read it, and then we go through chapter by chapter and make sure that it's on point and they're happy with it. So that's the process there.
And do they put their name on it? So is it written by them? How does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's absolutely written by them because it's their words, really. I just recorded them and maybe I edited them a little bit.
Maybe you edited them a little bit.
That's why I call it your story in your words. It really is. You said it. So.
Do you do this a lot for people, the ghostwriting?
Yeah, I do. Well, actually, I probably do more mentoring because my clients really want to write it themselves.
And I can tell intuitively that you want to push that as well. Like this is what I'm hearing. I'll do the ghostwriting for you, but why don't we try you writing it, right? That's what I'm feeling like.
It's your story. If you don't know it, who does, right?
Exactly. It would probably be a much easier job for you just to write it for them, but I can tell that the way your coaching is, you want to serve a higher purpose, and you really want to mentor people to actually do this themselves. I can feel it coming from you.
Yeah, because it's really their expression. Like we talked about, it's their soul's expression.
And it's going to put their energy into that work. That's beautiful.
I love to work with new writers.
I can tell.
I love to help people find their voice. So
I can tell. The one thing I've noticed is you and I are kind of on the same vibration, and I could feel it coming out of you, even though I wasn't trying to read you. I hope you don't mind. But I could feel how it's more important for you to have your person that you're working with feel successful than your own success. Like you just really want people to do this, and I can feel that.
Yeah, thank you. That's true.
You're welcome. I absolutely feel it. I'm like, oh wow, people that do this work, you guys, they are constantly. If you don't have a friend like Corinne, find one because there's a lot of people out there that really want to see people succeed, and she's one of them. And I can tell. And, we all need somebody like that on our side, even if you're not writing books, if it's a healer, a light worker, a psychic, whatever, a person that works with animals, you always want to surround yourself by people that want to bring you up and not tear you down. And I can tell that Corinne is that kind of person, and I love that. So thank you. Many thanks for sharing your love.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what is I'm going to ask a tip about meditation just in general. Like, let's say not writing a book, but you're literally just doing your meditation. What is your favorite quick meditation for people like me that have trouble doing it?
It's still to get into your heart space and then to breathe in and out of that space, just like your heart has nostrils, and just breathe in and out of that space.
Okay. About how long? About how long do you do it?
5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Well, once you get used to it, you can really be in that space in a good 5 minutes.
So you're just visualizing the inside of your heart and breathing, right? Mm-hmm. Do you see any colors? Are there any music? Is there any music in the background?
I like to do it in silence. If music works for you, that's fine. And yeah, I see a lot of purple when I'm in that space.
I've seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I think I went a step too far, and you can tell me. But one time I was doing it, I was trying to be the driver of the bus, which is my nature. And I was trying to literally connect my heart to my brain. I don't need to do that, right? I just leave it alone, right?
It just happens. It happens naturally.
It just happens naturally. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I asked you that because I was trying to do this the other day for healing purposes because I've had a cough. And they said, anytime, your heart is connected to your crown chakra, the heart is connected, that you've got that ultimate healing space. So I'm literally in my mind trying to network my heart to my brain. And I'm like, oh, I think I went too far.
You're so funny.
So just breathe in the heart space. Okay.
Right.
And only 5 to 10 minutes. That's not bad.
Yeah,
But I can do that. That's doable.
definitely.
So how often do you do this full time, right? This is your full-time job?
Yes.
Okay. And how often are you writing and consulting? Is it nonstop, 7 days a week, or how I hear your doggy.
Yeah, that's the big one. We have two.
Is that a German Shepherd? Is that a German Shepherd?
He's a lab.
Oh,
he's a lab.
He sounds German.
He's a German lab.
Yeah.
So I like to keep it to 5 days a week. And I have a few clients that I work with at a time.
Okay, that's awesome.
I still, I need to start my next book, and I'm playing around with my Italian heritage and maybe some healers that people thought of as witches at the time. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, I love that. That would be great. You know how many clients I get that were healers, especially in their past lives, and they were crucified, they were, they were stoned. And because of that, I can see it in their past lives. They are not coming into their true self here in this lifetime because they're scared. That would be a great book for people because that happens a lot. It's amazing how many people are reliving that over and over again. And that, the true healing, I feel like if we keep coming back to do something, we need to eventually accomplish it. So we got to get our fear out of the way. So that would be I think you should do it. Definitely.
Okay.
Do you come up with titles first or do you just start writing first?
I do like to have an idea and a title. And here's a tip. I always say when I'm writing that I create the cover, whether I have to draw stick figures or go on Google Images and cut and paste stuff, create a cover and put it up in the room where you're writing so you can see it, because it creates a container for the book to fall into. It's like if you build it, they will come.
Absolutely.
So create your cover. And another tip is go on Amazon and make sure no one has that title yet.
Oh, wow. Has that happened before? I bet.
It happens a lot. People have the same title. So wow. I like to have an original title.
Absolutely. Were you aware that Dr. Wayne Dyer gives that same tip about the cover? Did you know that?
No, I wasn't.
Yes.
Oh.
He writes that. I think it's in his novel Wishes Fulfilled, maybe, or Excuses Be Gone. I can't remember which one, but he actually gives that tip. And he created every cover before his book, every single one, and he put it right there on his desk. Isn't that funny? So y'all had the same thing. That's a great tip. Good deal. So if someone were to call you right now and say, Corinne, I've been working on this since grade school, and every time I turn this manuscript into an editor, they want to rip it apart. So I just have given up and I've just kept it to myself. Have you come across this, and what is your advice for that?
I have not, and I would tell that person to forego the traditional route and put it as an ebook on Amazon. You have so much freedom to put up whatever you want, and you can change it at any point in time too. You can make a second edition, you can add things, you can take things out. It's really liberating to put something out there and have it be live in 12 to 24 hours versus at a traditional publisher, it's going to be 12 to 18 months.
Right.
So,
okay.
Talk about your instant gratification.
Wow, that's amazing. So it sounds like it's a little bit easier for people these days to get those things out.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you ever travel and do writing workshops anywhere, or do you stay mainly in Florida and have people come to you?
I haven't been traveling, but I'm open to that now. I was grounded for a little bit, but now I'm free to move about the globe, so it's a good thing.
Good. You guys get her out there. Do some workshops with her. It's Corinne Casazza. If I had a workshop in my back pocket, I would hire you and have you come do it, because I would love to just sit with you and just brainstorm. That would be amazing. All right. So your next book, you want to name it real quick? Let's name it.
It's called The Walnut Witches.
You have it. You already knew what it was. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the walnut. What's the walnut?
So my dad was from Benevento, Italy, which is a town that's known for the liquor strega. Strega means witch. And so these witches, on the cover of this bottle of liquor from Italy, they're dancing around a walnut tree. And it's because that's where they did their healing work. So those are the walnut witches from, the 14th century in Italy.
Wow.
So
Oh, girl, you got to do it. You got to do it. You know, and I'm also seeing illustrations too. Have you ever illustrated any of your books?
Not me.
I think you need to do some illustrations in this one. Okay. Or have someone do it. You could do it. I know you can do it. Just, you know, channel it like you do your writing. It doesn't have to be real formal illustrations. It could be just pen and ink.
That would just be fun to try.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing it. Oh, I can't wait. How long will it take to get this done? Not long.
Well, I wrote the last one in 9 months, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I was about to tell you, with your clients, I was actually going to say 6 to 8 months, but yeah.
It's fast.
I know it's fast, but I think you've got a lot of it written already in your mind. So you just got to get it on the paper. And the illustrations done too, which will be quick. You just ink illustrations, you know, don't think too much about it.
My little stick figures?
Yeah. Just, you know, one of the best types of practices for channeling when you're drawing is to do the type of drawing where you don't pick up the pen. You literally just free flow, and it keeps you in the flow, and you'd be surprised what you get out of it. It's not that big of a mess. It's really kind of cool, but it's metaphoric too, because you're in the flow and you're not thinking too much about it. You're not sketching it. You're just literally letting it flow on the paper. And some of those illustrations are some of the best illustrations I've ever seen. So I think you could do a good job with that. Well, we've only got about 3 minutes left. Is there anything you'd like to plug or let us know before we end our show? This has been such a treat having you. I really appreciate it. I feel educated.
Oh, thank you. No, I really want to encourage people to write to me for the complimentary session. And, you know, I do really love to help people find their voice. So I think that's part of what I'm here to do.
Absolutely.